this house was also his, and they didn't raid that house for some reason. I don't understand why, but he owned both of these. And then King, was it King Combs? Had the audacity to like make a rap song like, feds didn't even get the right house. It was like...
What did Homeland Security agents find inside Diddy's Miami mansion that sent shockwaves through Hollywood? Weapons, explicit objects, and something far more chilling. Testimony from the raid has just been revealed, and it's worse than anyone imagined. Stay tuned as we dissect the jaw-dropping details and the legal storm brewing around Sean Diddy Combs.
Agent involved in the raid on Sean Diddy Combs' Miami home last year has now just finished testifying. Special Agent Gerard Gannon showed the jury items he testified were seized from Combs' Miami Beach home, including lubricant, lingerie, and loaded assault rifles. Meanwhile, rapper Kid Cudi, who reportedly dated Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura nearly 15 years ago, could testify tomorrow. Combs denies all the allegations against him. I want to bring in ABC's Rena Roy alongside ABC News contributor and criminal defense attorney Shauna Lloyd. They are live outside the courthouse. They're in downtown Manhattan. And Rena, I want to start with you. There's been so much revealed this week in the last couple of days. What's happening in court right now? What are you watching for?
Yeah, definitely a lot to break down, Stephanie. The jury just saw another gun in this trial. It was also from that special agent that you mentioned who was just on the stand. He just wrapped up his testimony, and it was a .45 caliber handgun that he says was found in the guest house of Diddy's Miami Beach property that you see right there in a suitcase. The jury also examined photos of ammunition and what the prosecutors called freak-off supplies, including baby oil, lubricant, and rubber ducks. He also testified that a list were
rubber ducks. I can just hear him now. Rubber dub dub in the tub. Oh my goodness, man. Like, we've heard a lot of information, and it was very, very dark and just wild with Cassie. But now this stuff is about to get extremely serious, as far as like when they say he could be facing life in prison. You're gonna see all of this stuff come out, man.
Imagine it. The serene calm of a Miami morning shattered as federal agents flood into one of the most luxurious homes in the city. This wasn't just some casual knock on the door. Homeland Security agents conducted a high-powered, coordinated raid, targeting none other than Diddy's sprawling, multi-million-dollar mansion. It was 5 a.m., the sun not yet rising, when the convoy of unmarked vehicles pulled up to the property. Armed agents quickly moved into position, executing a warrant that reportedly had months of planning and intelligence behind it. And what could possibly warrant such a dramatic operation? According to insider reports, it all came down to credible allegations of activities deemed too shocking to ignore. The scene inside was nothing short of chaos. Flashlights pierced through the mansion's dark hallways as agents methodically went from room to room. Bedroom doors were kicked open, safes were cracked. Even hidden compartments, some cleverly concealed in the architecture, were uncovered. Every drawer, every closet, every single corner of the house was subjected to intense scrutiny. The mansion, which boasted over a dozen rooms, a private theater, and sprawling outdoor areas, became the center stage for an unraveling nightmare. Witnesses close to the investigation described the agents as moving like clockwork, overriding sophisticated security systems and ignoring every trace of opulence in their hunt for critical evidence. And then came the discoveries. It wasn't just what they found, it was where they found it. Firearms, some stashed in obvious locations like a bedroom nightstand, others in less predictable places like a hidden safe beneath the house's grand staircase. Alongside the weapons, there was explicit material, items so specific and disturbing that they reportedly left seasoned agents taken aback. According to federal law enforcement protocols, these materials became a key part of the evidence, particularly when combined with additional findings in the raid. This wasn't random. These weren't items casually lying around a celebrity's home. Investigators believe they paint a much bigger and much darker picture. One of the most incriminating details revealed after the fact was the discovery of meticulously locked storage areas, some containing paraphernalia linked to what the agents classified as potential exploitation. These weren't standard lifestyle items either. To Homeland Security, they represented a consistency with other cases involving alleged exploitation crimes. Patterns arise in cases like these: hidden rooms, encrypted devices, and selective access to materials. Everything found followed these telltale signs, and that set the tone for Agent Gerard Gannon's bombshell testimony. In his statements, he described the items as a coordinated part of extensive illegal activity. While authorities have remained cagey about specific names and connections, the items seized in this raid point to something sprawling, something calculated. But while this chaos unfolded in his home, where was Diddy? And more importantly, how did he react when he found out? You'll want to stay tuned for that.
This house was also his, and they didn't raid that house for some reason. I don't understand why, but he owned both of these. And then King, was it King Combs? Had the audacity to make a rap song like, "Feds didn't even get the right house." It was like, morons.
I called him Yeet Skirt at the time because it was just so bad.
But anyway, there was a second house that they didn't go into. That's right next door. It would be bizarre to me that they only focused on the one. Maybe this is where all this stuff happened, and this is maybe the family house. I don't know. But you'd think if you're going to go do the raid and do it right, you'd do both houses. All right, well, there you go. I can't show a ton of those. But yes, as pew-pews, there's a lot of items around these things. Stacks of money,
I will say, if you want to prep, get ready for photo 40. And we'll get to that in a minute. Don't put it up yet.
The rubber ducky justice. There's now looking at a lot of substances and clips. And wow. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. That's a crazy. Look at that Buccaneers logo. I'm just scrolling through for my own, but it's wow. What is high? I think I can show that. That's
There's
just a lot of high heels.
There's a lot of high-heeled shoes and a lot of
he really
lingerie.
liked a specific kind of shoe.
Yeah, rope. A lot of rope and cuffs. And this bathroom, too, was quite a moment because there's stuff written on the mirror, like in lipstick. It's like, "You are a legend," blah, blah, upward motion and things like that. So it's like where people put Post-it notes on their mirrors to remind them, like with happy affirmations. His is just sprawled in lipstick of like, "I'm an icon." So that was
and here's that rope he was talking about. Wow, they really are going for it. This is like 50 Shades level.
Yeah. Now, apparently there were at least, from what I was gathering, 13 pairs of platforms. Now, here's the thing that I've been asking myself.
A wireless flicker. I can't say what it is. But
no.
And here we get into lots of loot, lots of baby oil.
We don't know what size the shoes are.
While Homeland Security agents stormed Diddy's Miami mansion, the music mogul was miles away, enjoying what should have been a routine day. Sources close to the situation revealed that Diddy was actually staying at a hotel in downtown Miami when he first got the call that his home was being raided. The call, reportedly from a member of his staff, came through just minutes after the agents entered the property. Initially, insiders say he thought it was a joke, or perhaps a misunderstanding. But as more frantic calls started pouring in, and the true scale of the operation became apparent, Diddy's calm exterior quickly began to crack. Eyewitness accounts describe his reaction as anything but composed. Hotel staff recalled seeing him pacing through the lobby, phone pressed to his ear, face tight with stress. He allegedly made a series of rapid-fire calls, some to his legal team, others to undisclosed associates. Questions swirled. Did he know this was coming, or was he caught completely off guard? Those who've worked with Diddy in the past described him as someone who's always 10 steps ahead, rarely surprised even when facing controversy. But in this case, it seems the raid blindsided him, leaving him scrambling for answers in real time. The intensity of his reaction didn't stop there. Some reports suggest that Diddy frantically attempted to get in touch with the agents themselves, allegedly offering to clear up any confusion if given the chance to speak directly. Whether or not those messages reached anyone involved remains unclear, but the very act of trying to intervene while the raid was ongoing adds a new layer to the public perception of his innocence, or lack thereof. Was this the reaction of a man trying to cooperate, or one trying to control the narrative before it spiraled further? Public opinion has already begun to split down the middle. To some, Diddy's reaction feels all too familiar. Over the years, he's been at the center of several accusations, with many suggesting a pattern of denial and deflection whenever controversy arises. On the other hand, his most loyal fans see this as yet another case of a powerful figure being targeted unfairly, an attempt to bring him down at the peak of his success. The question remains, Does his visible stress during the raid suggest guilt, or is it simply the response of someone whose life is suddenly being dissected under a harsher spotlight than ever before? Diddy wasted no time releasing a public statement late that same day. In it, he firmly denied any wrongdoing and described the raid as an unjustified invasion fueled by baseless accusations. He emphasized his ongoing commitment to cooperating with authorities, but vowed to fight these claims with every resource available. This bold statement sets the tone for what is shaping up to be one of the most high-profile celebrity legal battles of the decade. But with the weight of the evidence piling up from the raid, how will his legal team manage to counter such damning discoveries? How do you connect something like a cache of firearms and sex paraphernalia to allegations as serious as exploitation? That's a question that's been raised repeatedly since details of the Miami mansion raid hit the public. But according to Agent Gerard Gannon's testimony, the connection is disturbingly clear. Homeland Security isn't claiming these items were random, far from it. Instead, investigators believe they're part of a larger pattern, one they allege points to exploitation on a significant scale. And the way these items were found only adds to the narrative. Start with the weapons. Authorities reportedly uncovered multiple firearms, including a mix of handguns and rifles, stored in unexpected places across Diddy's home. One weapon, categorized as an untraceable ghost gun, was found stashed in a concealed safe under a tiled floor near the home's main staircase. It wasn't just about the weapons themselves, though. It was where they were kept, tucked away alongside encrypted devices and codes to locked storage compartments. This sheriff-style setup, law enforcement alleges, is a common indicator in cases involving organized illegal activity because these items speak to preparation and secrecy. Then there's the explicit material and paraphernalia, all of which reportedly overwhelmed agents when they entered certain areas of the mansion, particularly the private bedroom suites and subterranean areas. Without going into graphic detail, these items allegedly included tools, videos, and photographs, some of which Homeland Security categorized as pieces used to facilitate exploitation. Gannon emphasized how controlled these materials were. They weren't left casually sitting in plain sight. Many were inaccessible without keys or codes, suggesting that access to them was highly restricted, which to investigators raises flags of deliberate safeguarding. In the courtroom, this kind of controlled access can be painted as knowledge of wrongdoing, a major part of building the case. This isn't Diddy's first brush with career-threatening allegations, though. Over the years, whispers and some very public lawsuits have alluded to questionable behavior behind the scenes of his empire. Though most of those cases were settled quietly or vanished before trial, this raid feels different. This time, it's not a story built on public complaints or hearsay. It's potentially irrefutable physical evidence being tied to federal agents' investigations. That raises the stakes in ways his legal team has never faced before. From a legal standpoint, the implications here are daunting. Systems like this, the hidden safes, encrypted devices, and locked storage facilities, give prosecutors room to argue that Diddy wasn't just incidentally involved, but actively maintaining control over the environment. It's not just about possession, but intent, and intent is everything in exploitation cases. Defense teams often argue that high-profile figures store unusual items for privacy or security reasons, but prosecutors can point to the patterns that match similar cases to make their argument stick. Agent Gannon's testimony will undoubtedly play a crucial role in establishing what comes next, and with speculation growing about how this evidence can shape the direction of the case, all eyes are on what Homeland Security does next. According to legal analysts, they're looking to expand their investigation beyond the raid and potentially question others within Diddy's circle. But while the government builds its narrative, how is Diddy's team preparing to dismantle it? That's where things get even more interesting.
Found in a wooden box on a bathroom counter with a gold puffy label on it. So jurors are really getting an inside look here at what authorities say they seized from.
And I also want to know about this baby oil because it was rumored that it might have been laced. I'm wondering if they're going to reveal if that's true or not. Because that's a lot of oil, man. They were talking about she had to have it heated up and yeah. Because that right there would make a lot of sense besides them just being glistening if that stuff was laced.
his home last year.
Oh, apparently. Shauna, what was the prosecution hoping to show with Special Agent Gannon's testimony and all of these items that were found in the home?
Well, Stephanie, what they were looking to show are the elements that they are saying speak to the RICO as well as the trafficking charge. We found the guns, we found those with labels scratched off, serial numbers scratched off, so that speaks to the illegality of the guns.
Damn.
We also have seen, again, this is something else, illegal substances that were found in the home. We found other things, the baby oils, those are also evidence of the freak-offs that he was allegedly forcing Cassie to participate in. So all of these are elements of the crimes that they're looking to prove.
Different elements, a lot of different elements revealed there. And Shanna, Kid Cudi is expected to testify this week. How could that testimony help prosecutors prove the racketeering and conspiracy charges?
Well, when we talk about the racketeering charge, we have to remember that it is a small group that has conspired to commit illegal acts. This arson is one of the acts that they are alleging was one of these illegal acts. So his testimony about what happened to his car after the threats that Sean Combs made about blowing it up are very significant because it ties him directly to that arson.
With his freedom and decades-long legacy hanging by a thread, Diddy has pulled together a powerhouse legal team to mount a defense, and they aren't holding back. At the helm is attorney Howard Greenfield, a name that strikes fear into prosecutors. Known for representing A-listers through their worst scandals, Greenfield has a reputation for finding loopholes and dismantling cases with surgical precision. Joining him are a mix of crisis PR strategists and criminal defense experts, all focused on one thing: flipping the narrative. Their strategy? Attack the foundation of the case entirely. One of the biggest challenges for Diddy's team is the mountain of evidence uncovered during the raid. Physical items like encrypted devices and hidden safes don't just vanish under scrutiny, they carry weight, literal and figurative, in court. But Diddy's team knows this, and that's why their counterattack focuses on how the evidence was obtained. Greenfield has already hinted at procedural flaws, suggesting that the feds may have overstepped or mishandled key elements during the raid. There are whispers from insiders that they're examining whether the warrant itself had irregularities, something that could undermine the entire operation. If they can poke enough holes in how the evidence was collected, they might convince a judge to toss it, or at least weaken its impact. And then there's the public angle. Statements from Diddy's legal reps are dripping with claims of bias. They've accused Homeland Security of targeting Diddy to make an example of him, calling the raid a disgraceful violation of an innocent man's privacy. PR strategists from his camp have been behind the scenes pushing this narrative to media outlets, framing Diddy as a victim of his own fame. It's not the first time we've seen this play out in a celebrity scandal. Take Michael Jackson's infamous trial, for instance. His defense leaned heavily on claims of bias and overreach, painting investigators as reckless and eager to take down a star. The strategy worked then, at least in the courtroom, though it left lasting marks on his legacy. Diddy's team seems to be walking that same tightrope. But there's risk here, and it's enormous. If they lean too hard into the bias narrative and fail to dismantle the evidence itself, they risk looking like they're avoiding the central allegations. And with the public already divided, any misstep could cement Diddy as guilty in the court of public opinion, even if he wins in a legal sense. High-profile cases like these are about more than the evidence, they're about perception. Every word from his team is calculated, but it's a high-stakes gamble. If the jury believes this comeback spin is pure damage control, it could collapse. So what's their next move? Greenfield has already filed motions to suppress key evidence, arguing it was mishandled. His team claims they can disprove at least portions of Agent Gannon's testimony, which they've called heavily exaggerated in statements to journalists. But will it be enough to sway the legal system and the public? Let's see what's next for Diddy's empire.
Here it is. I mean, this isn't as much as I was envisioning based on like Costco levels. It's a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Well, this is just one part, right? This is just one
I was
section.
expecting. I mean, how many cases of these were there? And then what's with the rubber ducky, Kim?
There's just 2 rubber duckies. So something I want to just make very clear. There were a lot of these collections of baby oil and Astroglide around the house from the sounds of it. So this was just one section of it. There's also, I don't know if you'll notice on the side, there's a box there of nitrous oxide.
Yeah.
Questions on that one too. But yes, the big thing this morning everyone was asking is, why are there duckies?
Well, I have a theory. He's making like these inflatable pools full of oil, so he's clearly just putting them on as display on top. I think that's what it is. It's creepy. It's weird. But he's clearly like, oh yeah, float the duckies on the baby oil pools.
I mean, the duckies have seen things. I fear for the duckies.
Poor duckies.
I have so many questions.
This ain't no Bert and Ernie action. No, this is intense.
So, yeah, white towels everywhere.
A lot of towels. I mean, I'd expect a lot of towels.
Mm-hmm.
Hotels level where the towels, what he's going. More nitrous on the bottom. Oh, that's a close-up of that. That's what that was. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the close-up of that area.
Yeah. So
more pills.
Lots of substances. There was a crystal rock-like substance that they just kept saying with other pills. And the main ingredient of magic mushrooms were found.
Well, hold on. Can we talk about weird clear bags filled with why?
This is what I mean. The baby oil was scattered. It was not just in the closet. It was everywhere.
And he has so much, like, just throw it away and get a new one.
And there's Astroglide there too. I don't know if you can see it. It's underneath.
Why are they in plastic bags? Like, what?
I don't know.
What is supposed to make them more portable?
What's next for Sean Diddy Combs is a question hanging in the air, heavier than it's ever been. Professionally, the fallout from the raid has already begun. Several business partners are reportedly re-evaluating their relationships with him, worried about how these allegations could reflect on their brands. High-level insiders in the music industry have hinted that ongoing projects are being quietly put on hold. His upcoming ventures, including rumored collaborations and business expansions, now face an uncertain future. Diddy's public persona, long known for being untouchable, has started to crack, and the chinks in this armor are widening fast. But it's not just the public image that's on the line. Legally, the path ahead could spell even more trouble, or in a worst-case scenario, criminal charges. While Diddy hasn't been arrested, legal experts are already weighing in on the strength of the case Homeland Security is building. Agent Gannon's testimony, combined with the sheer amount of evidence recovered, gives federal attorneys powerful tools. As one legal analyst put it, cases involving exploitation don't always rely on witness testimony. Physical evidence, especially items like what was reportedly found in Diddy's home, can speak for itself in court. While some law enforcement sources believe this could lead to criminal charges, others say the case might also spark civil lawsuits, something Diddy has dealt with multiple times before. This situation has brought inevitable comparisons to other celebrity scandals. Take R. Kelly, whose initial run-ins with the law seemed distant from his untouchable career, a distant storm on the horizon. That is, until the avalanche of accusations finally caught up with him. Certain parallels can't be ignored. Both figures held immense power in their industries. Both denied wrongdoing, yet both faced evidence that raised more questions than answers. Of course, every case is different, and Diddy's fate isn't sealed. Still, the notoriety of this raid already places him alongside names whose careers shifted permanently once legal trouble began. Fans and the media, unsurprisingly, are split. Social media reactions range from hardcore supporters defending Diddy as a target of government overreach to critics dissecting every piece of information with palpable outrage. Hashtags defending him trended briefly, but they were quickly drowned out by intense speculation over the raid details. For some fans, this marks the beginning of a shift in how they see him. Not as the polished icon who dominated hip-hop, but as a figure tied to darker, more troubling stories. The media, meanwhile, has been relentless in its coverage. Tabloids are churning out exaggerated headlines, while investigative outlets dig deeper into Diddy's past, all desperate to connect the dots and paint a fuller picture. And that brings us to perhaps the biggest question of all, the long-term impact. Even if Diddy manages to escape criminal charges, his brand has already taken a blow. The music and fashion mogul, who once had a spotless veneer, now faces an uphill battle to reclaim his public standing. Corporate sponsorships, concert deals, and future collaborations all hang in the balance. As one PR expert noted, brand damage isn't always about guilt, it's about perception. And in the court of public opinion, perception becomes reality. The next big move in this unfolding drama will likely come from Homeland Security, which has hinted that their investigation is far from over. More subpoenas, more testimonies, and possibly new legal developments may still emerge. And while Diddy's team scrambles to control the narrative, this case is starting to feel like more than just one man's fight. It raises bigger questions about celebrity culture, accountability, and the laws or reputations. Some stars believe they're above. So what does this mean not just for Diddy but for Hollywood as a whole? This case doesn't just challenge Diddy, it challenges the untouchable image of celebrity power. If the evidence holds weight, it could set a new precedent for how stars face consequences, no matter their fame or influence. But is this a case of accountability or a calculated takedown? That's where you come in. What do you think? Are we finally seeing cracks in the system of celebrity immunity, or is this another example of a high-profile figure being unfairly targeted? We want to know your thoughts, so hit the comments. This isn't over, and the next twist could change everything.